Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom look at our comic book collection. Today we're looking at our first issue is Uncanny X-Men 268 from 1990. This is a reprint from this year though, and I got it at The Great Escape in Louisville, a local comic shop here. This is Wolverine, Captain America, and Black Widow together again for the first time. Again for the first time. So you can tell it's a reprint, not only for the new Marvel logo, but I noticed it says rated T. I don't ever remember there being a rating system on comics when I was a kid. There were definitely comics that were not on the shelf because they were too extreme. Sometimes I remember seeing the ones that had like an opaque part of it. Mm-hmm. Because it was like too
Or they put
gnarly.
them in a bag or something.
Yeah, or like a gray bag or something. But yeah, I don't ever remember seeing a rating. I wonder if it's like the video games with rating E or T or M.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I picked this one because it's written by Chris Claremont, who's like the classic X-Men writer that kind of like, set the stage for all the most well-known aspects of that team after the classic first 5 X-Men when he took over. That's when it really hit its stride. And it's Jim Lee, the artist. So usually
really
Chris Claremont and John Byrne are thought of as like the golden era. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. They have some great ones. But I really like Jim Lee, and probably just because this is the art style I grew up seeing when I was a kid, and it was like the newest thing at the time. Mm-hmm. And I remember I have some X-Men that are Jim Lee, and I think I had some Wildcats comics, if you remember that. I think it's an Image group.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those Image, not a lot of them, but a few of the Image ones that I had seemed kind of just like more extreme versions of the Marvel DC teams. Like more guns and pouches and muscles and cursing and like mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do the comic code so they could maybe they did bleep it out. I'll have to pull one out, but they were more extreme. They were edgier.
Yeah. I have a little stack of Image that I've thought about.
I have like a crossover Wildcats Marvel. It was like an Image Marvel crossover event where the superheroes of both teams are fighting some kind of alien menace. It was really brutal because I think there's one part where Captain America's head is like on a pike or something.
Whoa.
The aliens killed him or something like that. Or maybe it was a different character, but I was like, damn, that's extreme. I didn't care for it when I was a kid.
No, you loved Captain America when you were a kid.
Yes. So, this is from 2024, but it's a reprint of 1990, and you can tell also because they reproduced all of these...
the ads?
All these ads. I still do like Captain America. I think it just depends... I think they did a great job of adapting them to the modern day with the MCU. I think it just depends on like the angle that you take.
I think it was a great choice of actor.
Definitely.
I think it's going to be interesting if they reboot any part of the Marvel movie universe.
Yeah, it seems inevitable that they would. Just a matter of time. But they got to capture the right kind of charisma for that part. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a cool issue because it blinks back and forth between 1941 and the present day. And this starts out in 1941, and it also starts with Captain America, which you don't see him too often pop up in X-Men. He's not a mutant, and he's in Madripoor in the late summer of 1941, and this is like early on in Captain America's career, so he's still kind of getting used to fighting. He's still trying.
Is this going back and forth via memory or via time travel?
Memory.
Okay.
It's not really clear. I don't remember there being like a frame narrative where somebody's telling the story of this happening. It just keeps going past, present, but it's not like, and then this happened, and then, like like a storyteller recounting it or a character visibly thinking about it. So we get this cool splash page, and the whole reason this is happening is the Hand have this Russian guy hostage, and Captain America's like, well, ninjas are probably allied with the Nazis. He takes a good scratch on the back. They have like it's like little mini Wolverine claws, but it has like a gripper on it or whatever. I don't remember what you call that weapon.
They look like like they're part of a glove or something.
It'd be cool if one of them had like those big Hulk hands you get at Target. So he's about to get beheaded really early in his career. Yeah, he's not the Captain America we all know. He's not seasoned. When in comes Logan here, twirling some pipes.
That's part of his charisma, though. Is just his confidence.
His baton twirling.
And the choice of leotard that he wears during his ribbon routine later.
So Logan is he's like a resident of Madripoor in this time, even though he's from Canada, which he mentions a couple of times, I think, in this comic. He's from Canada, but he has a life being sort of a mercenary, and I think he reports to a character that we'll meet in a couple of pages here. But he jumps to Captain America's aid, and this is the first time they've met each other. So in the continuity of Marvel Comics, this is supposed to tell the story of the first time that these two characters encountered each other, which, you know, they probably did before this, because I'm pretty sure the Avengers and X-Men had some meetings before 1990. But, you know, they're just like, well, it was a long time ago, and they're older now, and Wolverine's been through a lot.
And Wolverine is obviously really old, because he looks at least late 30s here, and that's 40. What year was it? 40 something?
41.
41.
Right. Well, it's nice about his character. It's not like he doesn't have a memory, but he has big gaps in his memory, or like false memories. Then they can make all these excuses for having him pop up in weird places.
And does he have?
Why didn't you ever mention that you met Captain America when you were fighting?
When he was
Nazi
brand new,
ninjas,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought it was a false memory.
Does he have his mutant powers?
He does, yeah. He's got them. He's got all of them.
The timeline is crazy.
It's funny that they're fighting ninjas, and there's an ad
for ninjas.
Ninjas were big in 1990.
Wrath of the Black Manta.
Black Manta, you thought he was a DC villain. He's actually a ninja video game. There's a narc video game. The war on drugs probably funded this. It says just so you know, they probably got like a grant from the federal government to have an anti-drug message to their shoot 'em up video game.
I found something in my dad's drawer. Hello?
Should I shoot him with a machine gun? So they easily dispatch these ninjas, and they do mention these are Genin or Genin. That's what they call these ninjas, and when they're dead, they dissolve. I like how Captain America gets right into his career and he's killing people like right off. I mean, they're in war, so it's kind of implied that he's killed many people. It's an interesting thing about Captain America, who to me he's treated in a similar way to Superman, where they're like iconic. They're like good for their team's morale because they're like a beacon of truth and optimism and doing the right thing. And
but Captain A just lays people out.
He kills people too. When it's necessary, he'll kill you. But he's also not nigh invulnerable like Superman. So it kind of, I don't know. It makes him a more interesting character because he's like, I will kill. I don't want to do it. I'm not all apple pie and baseball.
So Lego my ego.
So Wolverine and Captain America are introducing each other. Thanks for the help. I'm Captain America. I like how they put the little yellow.
Yeah.
I'm Captain America. Do tell, I like the suit. Just the thing for playing it sly and sneaky. That isn't my style. I'm supposed to be a symbol. Never met one of those before. Me, I'm just a guy.
He doesn't say bub.
Name's Logan, bub. Welcome to Lowtown. Bub. He didn't learn bub yet at this point.
These were before
It's more
bub.
of a 90s thing. It's like in the 40s.
But then we have Jubilee.
Well, 49 years later. Yeah, it's easy to lose track of the time switches, which actually some of them occur halfway through a page later on. There's at least one. But you can tell because Wolverine has his cool brown and yellow costume.
My
or
favorite.
Gold. Yeah, I like that one too. I think that's my favorite one. Black Widow is here, Jubilee, and Psylocke, which Psylocke did not exist in 1941 either.
Right.
So, we're back in Madripoor. This time, it's Black Widow who needs to be rescued by by Wolverine, who is with his fellow X-Men, Jubilee and Psylocke. So Jubilee, you know Jubilee, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's got light manipulation power, like plasma balls that she shoots out. It's kind of like Dazzler, though, isn't it? Dazzler was disco, and she's like Gen X.
Right.
They'll have a Gen Alpha one that just like throws tablets at people or something. Anyway, I always thought that this costume for Black Widow was cool too. It's minimalistic, except for the only thing that's just not one-piece suit is the little gauntlet.
Right.
That's kind of cool though.
It almost makes it like it's from Wakanda.
Or it makes her gives her the cat burglar kind of
Yeah.
or spy. It makes her more like a spy. It could be like a wetsuit kind of thing.
Right.
But I associate this with her partnership with Daredevil. I remember we have some comics where she wears that, and she's in Daredevil's comic for a while there. So she's fallen into a trap, and they say that we're prepared for your widow's sting, and we know all about you. And she's about to go out fighting and get killed. She's even got her little Kirby crackle charging up there.
Oh wow!
When
sound.
Yeah, Jubilee.
Ancestors, no.
Batter up, Scuds. Play ball. One round of Jubilee's fireworks. Grade A. Guaranteed to flash blind every bad guy in the place. And this is the awkward dialogue. Since I see telepathically as well as with my mind, as my eyes, that poses no problem for me. She's got if you were really in battle, would you remind your teammate, like, well, fortunately, I can see with my mind and my eyes. So
right,
it's
but
silly.
If they didn't have that, for me, I would be like, oh, Psylocke, what's her powers?
Well, I don't see her in this. Yeah, that is a good. They gotta treat it like everybody could be their first issue. But I get that. But she's not in this field of being attacked that I can see.
Right.
So just say she was not facing that direction when
and
it
then
went
this
off.
bad guy, the renegade, Psylocke.
She comes in and blinds people, and then Psylocke cleans them up once they're all blind. She doesn't have to be in the fray getting blinded. It just seems like it's overcomplicating it to me. I do like this panel. It's a classic Wolverine. You get to see just the claws.
All you need, schnick.
Thought I made that clear a long time ago, Genin. Madripoor's my turf. You aren't welcome. Oof. So he's still 49 years later. He's still fighting the same jerks. It's kind of depressing. Maybe that's why Wolverine's so cynical. He's so old. He's seen all the same shit happen over and over again. So I really noticed that Jim Lee draws his female characters the same. It's the same body blank or whatever, and just slightly different clothes or whatever. It's kind of funny. Whereas his male characters seem to have a little bit more variation in their body types. But I really do like his art though. So let's see. They're helping out Black Widow, who passes out. She must have been, overtaxed in that fight. She's saying, "Fancy meeting you here, Wolverine. Although all things considered, especially under the circumstances, I probably shouldn't be surprised. Saving me from death, and worse, it appears to be something of a habit." She passes out.
She's injured though, isn't?
Yeah, she was injured, so she's trying to be tough, but she passes out. trying to shrug it off. And we cut back to 1941. So this is at Seraph's. That's the name I was searching for earlier. Seraph, I guess, is Wolverine's like handler, and she owns this bar. Seraph is like a small person. She's like abnormally short, and she's an assassin, or she trains assassins or something like that. It's an interesting character.
Wolverine himself is pretty short too.
Right, and it's weird. He would answer to someone even shorter. Maybe Plankton should start bossing him around. So let's see. Seraph's, today known as the Princess Bar, the place to go in Lowtown if you want to cut a deal and not worry about getting your throat cut in the bargain, at least not on the premises. So Logan is carrying some drinks back and walks into this guy, this Nazi, and the Nazi's saying, "You better apologize to Baron Strucker this instant. He was in my way," Logan says. "This is a respectable establishment," Baron Strucker says, or his assistant. Yup. Till they let you goose steppers in. "You will beg Baron's pardon, and then you will leave. Suppose I don't."
I love that expression. That's perfect, Logan.
He's smirking. Classic cocky Wolverine. Then I will most happily thrash you within an inch of your misbegotten. "This is my place, gentlemen." And they're like, "Huh?" And they're looking down. "Hiya, Seraph," Logan says.
Oh no,
And
I can't wait.
Standing up on the table, or I guess she gets up on the table. But I decide who stays and goes. Takes all sorts to make a good saloon, Herr Kreutzmann, and it isn't always the clothes that brand a man as class or riffraff. "That's telling 'em, darling. Shut your mouth. I'll deal with you later. Only person here entitled to throw any weight around or make a scene is me. A regrettable misunderstanding, madam. Though wronged, that is no excuse for a true junker to forget his manners or the proprieties of being a guest. It will not happen again."
Ugh.
"Going somewhere, shorty?" So she stops to talk to him. "Whatever you have planned, take it outside. I don't want my place wrecked." "Don't you sass me, shorty. I mean it."
That's classic cartoon face too, in the X-Men cartoons.
Mm-hmm. You need to watch that X-Men 97.
No, I did start it.
So he rejoins the Russian guy here, Major Petrovich, and we have Captain America in his civilian garb here, Steve Rogers, and he says, "I don't drink." That's Captain America. Logan says, "Why am I not surprised? But I knew that. Not even the slightest residual taint of alcohol on your scent. Mineral water for you, vodka for Major Petrovich. Beer for yours truly, L'chaim." So they're discussing what they're going to do and why they have a common enemy. And Petrovich says, Logan says, "It appears we have an interest in common because Captain America rushed to the aid of the Russian, got in over his head. Logan rushed to the aid of Captain America." So they're trying to figure out, well, what is Petrovich? Why is he an enemy of the hand? "That information, comrades, I believe I can provide. It is probably why those assassins were trying to kill me. Baron Strucker, one of the Reich's top operatives reporting to Hitler himself, has abducted a young girl left in my charge. Natasha Alienovna Romanoff. So now we cut back to the present day where that very person is waking up to see Wolverine. She says, "You! Nice to see you've lost none of your edge, Princess." "Wolverine, I nearly... Which is why I took the precaution of removing your widow's bite, Tosh, when I put you to bed. And made sure to sit out of arm's reach, because he knew, I guess, that she would attack him immediately when she woke up."
Wow.
And so she's like, "Oh, thanks for rescuing me again. Always a pleasure for me to do, darling." Jubilee is spying through the blind and saying, "Is it like my imagination, or is every old buddy Wolvie's got in the whole world like some incredibly fabulously gorgeous babe?" And Psylocke says, "Jubilee, it is impolite to pry. Somebody's got to look out for him."
Aww.
And since some of us aren't telepaths, Psylocke, we got to do it the old-fashioned way. What's this little uncle she keeps calling him? Oh, so terribly precious, don't you think? Makes me want to barf.
She's so jaded. I like it for being young.
Yeah.
Wow,
I like
$189.99.
I know, kind of pricey.
Wow.
I had both of these systems at some point when I was a kid. I was pretty lucky. Had that one for sure first.
I love Super Mario 3. Grandma loved Link.
Yeah, Link was good. I don't think we played Punch-Out. And what is that, Ben-Hur, the video game or something? Oh, Double Dragon 2. We definitely played that. And then we've got Mystic
Shinobi?
Defender, Shinobi. I think I rented it. Maybe that's a ninja game. Actually, speaking of ninjas, if you couldn't tell from the artwork, and this is what, Metroid or something? It doesn't have the name printed there.
Yeah.
Well, Metroid's Nintendo, isn't it? Forgotten Worlds. I've never heard of Forgotten Worlds, but I played a lot of Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're all getting caught up to speed here. A little while later, not so long ago, old friend, I thought Daredevil and I had dealt with the Hand once and for all, and that would have been in Daredevil's 185 through 190. I guess they were at war with the Hand. That's probably the issues I was thinking of earlier.
Right.
Logan says, of all people, Princess, you should know better and to make that sort of blanket assumption, especially about the Hand. But if their involvement was a surprise, what brought you here? The Strucker twins, Andrea and Andreas. Status surveillance as a favor for Nick Fury. So we saw Baron Strucker in 1941 with his Nazi friend there, and now we have his twin offspring, 49 years later, doing similar stuff.
Yeah,
Jubilee's so sassy looking.
She is, but she's supposed to be a teenager, so...
Yeah. Well, she's being a teen. The Struckers are on Madripoor for a meeting with a Japanese businessman named Matsuo Surayaba. Surayaba. It's hard to say for me.
Yeah.
Major bad news. He's the Hand's boss. Fenris and the young Jonin talk about an unholy alliance. So Fenris, I guess, is the collective name of the Strucker twins, like Fenris the wolf.
Are they some sort of mutant?
They are. I think they were genetically engineered with the X gene. I looked it up. It doesn't address it in this comic, but I was curious about those characters. And they can, like, if they're in physical contact with each other, can fly and, like, shoot lasers out of their hands or something. But they have to, like, hold hands while they're doing it. It's dorky.
They're like the Wonder Twins, but Nazis.
They're the Nazi Wonder Twins, yeah.
Wow.
So, they planned this ambush in 1941 to get the child back. Well, this is where we're jerking back to the past here kind of abruptly, where the Strucker villain's car is being confronted by Logan, who just stands in the way, and they're like, well, we're not going to stop. We're going to run him down. And the proportions are weird here. He's so small compared to the size of that car.
But he says it.
Funny thing, bub. I was thinking pretty much the same about you.
Oh, man. Are these the twins?
No, this is back in 1941, so this is the father. And for the record, I'm Canadian and proud of it. Because they say, the Amerikaner from the bar. So he's got to set the record straight. I think Canada was in World War II before America went against their neutrality. Who does that loon think he is? Some sort of Superman? Nothing at all like you, comrade Captain? That's different. At least I have Professor Erskine's super soldier serum to thank for giving my edge. And so I guess he's not aware of Logan's powers. Or at least his healing factor.
Right.
Because the assistant to Strucker here starts shooting at the child. He's like, if the Third Reich can't have this child, nobody can have him. But Wolverine shields the child aged Natasha from the bullets, and they think they've killed Logan. So the Petrovich, or whatever his name is, rescues Natasha, the young Natasha, and Captain America's like, we got to take her to the American embassy. She'll be safe there. But of course it's the American consulate. But of course, it's a trap. They are surrounded by soldiers. And he's like, I'll just say that you were killed in action. And this is kind of a weird time. I didn't see the now at first. I was like, wait a minute. So he did have this brown costume back then, but of course, after a second, you realize, wait, we're going from 1941 to now to 1941.
Yeah, in the 40s.
It's really not that confusing.
He had his Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah. He should have just kept that if he wants people to know he's Canadian. So they're getting some information from this goon, and she's like, I don't know how much longer I can hold you. And Wolverine's like, I'll be sure to catch him. That's a cool panel, though.
Yes, great expression on his face. He looks like a cat.
He's really clean shaven. A lot of times I feel like you get Wolverine with stubble or 5 o'clock shadow at least.
On the cover, he looks, yeah.
But he shaved that day. So we're back to 1941, and Herr Kreutzmann here has taken allyship with, he's become friends with this American consulate guy. This is Jeffrey Sydenham, the U.S. consul, who says, all depends on your point of view, doesn't it? I happen to consider myself a patriot captain who believes the true destiny of the United States is to join with Germany in an Aryan hegemony that will eradicate the scourge of Bolshevism from the globe, and thereby make the earth fit for those who deserve to rule it. America will have the new world, the Third Reich, the old, Europe and Africa, and Japan gets Asia and the Western Pacific. It's only fitting that a key instrument in the destruction of the communist evil should be forged from one who bears the name of the imperial dynasty the Reds so ruthlessly tried to murder during their bloody revolution. So I guess they're alluding to... I never think about that Black Widow is of a royal lineage. She's a Romanov.
Oh.
That Romanov. So they have her under like mystical control or suggestibility, and they're like, she's just a kid, and they're like, well, that's when we recruit them. They're easily pliable at that point. Now we're back to the present day.
Who the heck is that guy?
And it's this weird sailor. He's propositioning the Psylocke and the Black Widow who are dressed like they're...
They're clubbing.
Yeah, I guess. So they're on a yacht, of course. This is the evil yacht where the very 80s-looking villains, like yuppie-like villains,
Ick.
or flock of seagulls-like villains are conspiring to do whatever they're doing. And Jubilee, of course, is disgusted. She says, please, most guys, they just got no class whatsoever. Shake the right bit of booty under their noses. What passes in them for brains goes right out the window. Wolverine doesn't have to get into weird disguise. He just shows up, got a light. And so, I guess, they just whip off their disguises because Psylocke has that wig in her hand as she's jump kicking someone. But it's like, she's got no legs, and then she's got a full bodysuit. She's got a skirt on, and like same thing with the boots. Where'd you get those? These just go whoop. They're like high tech. They're unstable molecule costumes from Reed Richards, I guess. They can just morph completely. Anyway, not to be too picky. We're back in 1941, where the Russian guy's about to be beheaded by a young Black Widow under mind control when her sword is broken and interrupted mid-slice, and this head of the head of the hand is beheaded by Logan.
Whoa.
Cuts his head right off.
That's a great panel.
I know he's got no pupils, just whites of his eyes. That's cool. What's the matter, fellas? Look like you're seeing a ghost. But we saw you shot. I got better. And he cuts their restraints.
Okay, so Capt doesn't know about...
What is up with that look?
And
he's like a werewolf.
Canines, yeah.
We're not out of the woods yet, partner, by a long shot. Assassins don't look too pleased that you killed their leader. Had it coming. No argument. But neither they nor Strucker's Death's Head stormtroopers are about to let us leave without a fight. Their choice, their funeral. I love this red.
These guys are the shadows that they turn this.
He's
brown?
casting a shadow, yeah. Even though he's only up to their elbows. I guess he's hunched over. He has really bad posture.
Wow.
So this is a cool panel. The dark red in the background. There's an X-Men cover. I think he's jumping the opposite direction, but a really iconic Wolverine cover that's deep red like that. So let's see. This is where they part, I guess, having killed all the goons off screen or whatever, off panel. Had this all set up, you know. Would have gotten clean away. Spared everyone a whole world of grief if you'd only done as you were flamin' told. Give it a rest, Logan. You're loving every minute. That's Seraph there driving. Can barely see over the steering wheel.
Sitting on a bunch of pillows.
Natasha's a tough kid, Seraph, but some things no kid should have to see. You told me to be brave, little uncle. I fought the wizard as hard as I could. Did fine, princess. Made me proud. Better scoot, Boy Scouts. Got maybe 5 minutes before this strip turns into a war zone. Short hop over to Singapore, then west to India, hang a right, kids safe home in Mother Russia. We work pretty well together, mister. A shame to break up so potential a team. Appreciate the thought, Cap, but I work alone. Don't need a sidekick. Actually, I meant as my... Well, never mind. Perhaps it's for the best. Take care, Logan. I hope we meet again. Anything's possible. Count on it, little uncle.
I like how she calls him little uncle.
Yeah. I like how Captain America thought that Wolverine would be his sidekick. It's like, didn't he get you out of near-death situations twice this comic?
Yeah.
You just started out, and you need rescuing. So anyway, we're back to the present day. They've rounded up all these mercenaries or whatever they are, and Psylocke says, my psi scanning powers show that the crew possess no knowledge that does us any good. So that's convenient.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
I learned all their deepest, darkest secrets as well, but I'll tell you those on the way home. Logan says, figured as much. Let it go, Bets. Betsy Braddock, I guess is her name. They know your capabilities, bound to be shielded against them. That's the interesting thing about Psylocke's character. I believe, I'm not deeply versed in her character, but I was trying to remind myself, so I was reading a little bit on the wiki. I think she's a British woman, and her body died, or something was necessary where she transferred her consciousness into this ninja lady. So that's not actually her original body. She took over someone's body.
Oh, wow.
Because she's got, not only is she got psychic powers, I guess, similar to, Professor X, but she's a ninja as well. She's a more physical version of the telekinetic. Well, I don't know if she has telekinesis, moving things, but she seems to be able to, probe people's minds. So maybe it's just telepathy. But I think she can manifest some kind of pink blade around her hand that's like psychic energy as well. I don't know.
Interesting.
She doesn't seem to do it this comic.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with her at all.
So to close out the story, this is kind of the unsatisfying part of it, is it seems like this modern day story was just an excuse to tell this more interesting flashback story.
Oh.
They should have just done a whole flashback, but maybe, they're setting something up for later. But far away through a telescope watching them are the Fenris twins, the Strucker twins. This had been a diversion, so they planted some false information with that goon that Black Widow and Wolverine had questioned, saying that they're going to meet on this yacht and we can disrupt their plan. But meanwhile, they're meeting on some rocky crevasse, saying, we're having champagne with the hand. So they're gonna team up with the ninjas, the evil demon ninja people, just like their father, the Nazi.
But then
did.
next Rogue.
Yep, Rogue's gonna fit in somehow.
Talk about the X-Men also who wears a glove, like those two. Each of them were wearing
They're in
gloves.
the glove club.
But I mean, Rogue's power is too.
Could be anyone's power.
Yeah, she's almost got the Superman overpowerful.
Well,
problem.
It's interesting that it's a curse though for her. Is that
because she is affectionate and wants relationships, and she can't have it. But yeah, so she does that.
So it's an interesting weakness for her.
Right.
Her character, at least.
Yeah. True.
You get Ravenloft. Ravenloft is a AD&D, an advanced Dungeons & Dragons campaign. The new Ravenloft box set brings a new dimension to the world of gothic horror and supernatural suspense. You'll get more powerful creatures and complete details on their lairs. The vampires will be able to resist the light of day, and the mummies will not be frightened by the touch of fire. Oh, good. They're so easily defeated by fire. I'm glad they changed that. This new box set is the first of an entire line of AD&D 2nd edition horror products to delight and enhance your AD&D role-playing experience. Look for this new Ravenloft box set available this summer at a hobby shop near you. Vampires, ghosts, and things that go bump in the night.
Wow.
So this is our 1990 by way of 2024 comic. Haven't looked at a ton of 1990s ones on the podcast, so it was nice to get that era, especially since, that's the era I came up with, and somehow we ended up with way more comics from the 70s and 80s, because some people's parents bought a shit ton of comics, and some people's parents, it was a special treat now and then to get 2 of them.
We went to the comic shop probably a couple times a week.
It was a different... Did they still have news? I was meant to ask you, do they still have newsstands? Or were you in a small town where it was mostly like at the grocery store that you could...
Our town was
Deckerville,
actually,
right?
actually a village. I think it still is a village, so it was really small. So we would go into the drugstore, which is, they had like the pharmacy way in the back, and then in the front, it was just like a Walgreens, just had a little bit of everything. They have like little wire
spinning racks?
Yep, the spinning rack. So you go in there and that's why we have sometimes double the issues, is because my mom would go in there. She had this job doing something in town every Friday, and that's when we grocery shop and everything. So she'd meet us at school, and then we'd go to the drugstore.
On Friday?
And she just cleaned for this organization. And anyway, yeah, so sometimes if we weren't there because I had band or my sister had something, she would just buy the same comic, because every Friday we'd come home and there would be a bag of comics.
Really?
But back then it was so much cheaper.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I noticed about that X-Men is it's $4.99 on the MSRP. This is what a 2012 comic, and the $2.95, and then of course back in Green Lantern's era we got 60 cents.
Right.
But I guess the value of the currency fluctuated too, so the 60 cents in the 70s could, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if it's proportionally increased, or I think part of the reason that I think I've actually heard about that when people that are more knowledgeable talk about the comics boom and bust of the 90s, that part of the reason was, like, if you recall from our collection, and we have a lot of covers that are like holographic or special cutout 3D, but even the paper stock is so much higher quality, or some of them have like a thicker cover, but even the paper in this is pretty slick. It's glossy, and
and ink changes too, because some of the comics that we've already done,
I think reproducing
some of the episodes, it's like some of the words are gone, or they're just smudged.
They just rub away after getting into the oils of your hands, contaminating them, or
and our collection was always something to be read. It wasn't something. Back then, we never dreamed of like putting them in boxes and bags and cardboard and stuff. It was just, here's more comic books.
Yeah, it's funny that we put them in bags now, because I don't feel like I collect them for their monetary value.
No.
For me, it's more just like, well, I do want to read them, as we have been. I want to get through all of the collection if we can. But it's just more like, what if we get a little bit of flooding in the basement or something? Maybe we can save some of them. But I like that about our collection. I don't want to have a bunch of like graded CGC behind a big slab of plastic.
No, it's too stressful.
And just what do you do with it? You just like, I have this thing. It's worth $12,000. It's from 1943, and it's got
Well,
Superman's dog for the first time or something. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know why I bought it for that much.
Well, I mean,
It'll be worth more eventually.
the ones that we do have that have any value have all been red. You know, even that Lakeside Tattoos.
Well, that's what I liked about a couple episodes. We did that X-Men, which I was saying like, oh, the lowest one I could find on eBay. It's not like a super rare one, but it was like 30 or 40 bucks or something like that. But I found it slightly, you know, a little damaged, a little worse for wear from the comic shop for much cheaper. I like finding stuff like that. I think I draw the line on the coverless. Like, if the covers, if it's just the interior, I'll keep it if it's like that. And we've got a couple that are like that, but not really that many.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to seek more out. I'll be like, you know, it's got to have a cover. I could even take one if it's got chunks, or if it doesn't obscure the image that much, or if it's like torn but the pieces are each there and it's not like a bite.
Well, that Ren and Stimpy one.
Yeah,
that one was.
That one's a little water damaged, I think. That kind of stuff, I don't know. Now, I used to really stress about it when I was younger and be like, oh, it's worthless now, but. And I'm just like, well, they're historical artifacts after a while. Like, after something's 50, 60 years old and it's made of paper, it's nice that we still have them.
Yeah,
that they're
exactly.
still legible. Much less,
Exactly.
you know, I'm not, you don't have to put them in a vacuum sealed tomb.
Right.
It's a little weird.
Right.
Anyway, I don't mean to go on a big rant. I think it's always impressive when I do in the wild see those really rare issues behind a slab, but I'm just not the type of person to covet them or whatever.
Well, I mean,
to
one
actually buy them.
One time in college, I went on a field trip with my class, and we had, I don't know, half a day to ourselves. So in Milwaukee, and so I went to it was in Minneapolis. So I went to a comic shop and took a taxi to get there and everything.
Really?
And bought, I think at the time it was like $26, Doctor Strange.
Oh wow.
And took it home, and you know, living with people as you do in college, it got stolen. And it's like, really?
That sucks. That really sucks.
But that's the most expensive comic I ever bought. It was $26.
Yeah, I don't think I've spent more than that on a single issue. I try to, for the old back issues, I try to be like, if it's 10 or under and it's like a really cool issue, I'll get it. If it's up to 10, I guess is what I'm saying. But rarely will I spend more than $10 on a single issue.
Right. It's more fun that way, you know, because
I'll just read it. If it's a really key issue for the story, because I have been reading some of them from the through the whole chronology, I'll just read it in the reprint.
Yeah.
Or in an app or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to get too off track, we have another newish comic.
Newish, DC, Plastic Man. Okay, Whiskers, we got the loot. Drive us out of here.
I love the minimalism of this cover. There's just no background. There are shadows, which is cool.
There's shadows, yeah.
And what do we say this was from 19?
I think
Or not 19.
2004?
2000.
Is it?
2000. Oh, thank you. 2004. So, still pretty new.
Only 20 years old.
I know. I like that new comics for our collection are within the last 20 years.
So, yeah, I got this for the cover because we had been talking about Plastic Man, and I thought...
Is he dead?
I know.
Oh, he's just knocked out, I think, because he's got bumps.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I thought Whiskers, cat. I pictured those as being ears, but his ears right there. Yeah.
Plastic Man is a car. I think I would notice if my car had a giant grinning face and sunglasses on.
And it was warm.
And it was red, and
And soft.
These seats are really warm and fleshy.
Like, ooh, like are the seats his butt, you know?
It's like a heated water bed in here.
What's that smell? Yeah, so we open up Plastic Man, Chapter 2, Rubber the Wrong Way. So this poor fella looks like a anvil fell on his
Looks like a Disney font.
I know. And so yeah, it's wrote and arted by Kyle Baker, edited by Joey Cavalier.
Jovi.
Jovi. So we have Plastic Man who's looking a little peevish, to say the least. I don't really care for his flesh tone.
He's
boots.
pigeon-toed and flesh-toned boots.
Yeah. And he's
This font.
drawn.
It's a little hard on the eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the way they draw him, he's just so over-muscled up here and then nothing.
I kind of like that. It's fun. He skips leg day.
So he says, Eel O'Brien, it figures that incorrigible lowlife would be behind this murder.
This has to be one of the most cartoony
But
comics
what
we own.
Oh,
This is like
yeah.
Ren and Stimpy level.
Yeah. But what do you notice about this Eel
His
O'Brien?
butt chin O'Brien.
We'll
It's kind
see
of
if
got a butt crack middle part in his hair too.
He does. If you pick up on anything. But Eel O'Brien. So
I don't.
the crime scene's going on. The chief is yelling, "Listen up, men!
Oh, he looks a lot like Plastic Man. His colors, same color scheme.
Your suspect's name, Eel O'Brien, has long been atop the FBI's most wanted list." And what is Plastic Man doing? He's got a wallet. He's whistling. He looks bizarre. That's a really strange little note progression there. He's
It's only got one staff. No, it's got one. You couldn't.
Does it go like? Is that like
That's the top one, I guess.
E to? Yeah.
But then you would think that would be just the space above it, but it's almost high enough to be on another line.
Right.
Whoever made that doesn't play music. Doesn't read it.
He's earned the nickname Eel by being so slippery he's never been apprehended. He's been lucky so far. He's overdue for a mistake. You can tell by looking at him. He's not too bright. And then in the background you see Plastic Man, and he's looking at the picture and, giving the chief a strange little look over his shoulder, and he swallows.
I like his expression there. Notice disgusting leer.
Yes.
The loathsome smug villainy which emanates even from his photograph. This man is the face of evil.
You're uncharacteristically quiet, Plastic Man. Find something? Nope. You don't sound good. Sore throat? His little rat tail is weird. His jowls.
It's cool, but kind of strange how they make the word bubbles go in the gutters. And there's so much negative space on the inside, too. Do you think that was a cost-saving measure?
I think it was a design.
Because you're saving a lot of ink with all this white.
Yeah, you are. I think it's more of a design.
It's weird. I like it, though.
It's
fresh.
And it kind of offsets and draws attention to some of these really strange drawings.
I feel like that's the whole point of his character.
Yes.
It's like the crime fighting and any other aspect of him is secondary to just like, how can we put him in situations where he's going to just look really grotesque?
Yes.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, oh, that's a magnifying glass. No, his eye is just that big.
And it's weird how you can... it's weird how he can manifest...
Metal.
Like, yeah. Most of the things, like, you can tell it's the same color scheme when he becomes a car or something. It's like facial features, but then some other colored things can come out of him.
His hair.
Are they plastic metal? They're plastic
You
faucets?
can have colorful,
Yeah,
different colored plastic. But anyway, he's acting like he's, on the hunt for this eel guy. Like, oh, I'm on this, chief. And the chief is like, no, I'm not giving you the case. I love his expression. He kind of looks like Jafar. Speaking of Disney. He goes, either my ears or my mind is broke. You've been unable to catch O'Brien all these years. It's time someone new tried. So he gives him the waterworks. All right, already. Turn off the waterworks. So that's what we have here. His body completely changes. This tiny little completely round butt.
I didn't notice that. Thanks for pointing that out.
No problem.
And then it has like an angle on it.
Yes. So, as I respect your compulsion, but I'm not taking any chances. You're working with a partner. And so he's excited for his... Naturally, I wouldn't dream of tackling a criminal mastermind like the eel, sans my trusted young ward, Woozy winks. Young Ward. That's a 45-year-old man. And I mean, real partner. I'm having the Bureau send a new agent from Washington. He goes, that sounds great. Looking forward to it. Agent Morgan on Flight 18 from Washington today. Got it. He's got his ears stretched up. Like you wouldn't see that kind of stuff, you know?
It would scar you for life.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You saw an ear being extended over your windowsill. Where did that floating ear come from?
Oh, he could make it look like one of those rubber toys, those sticky toys he had when you were kids.
Get out of the quarter machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he sends Woozy to the airport to intercept the new guy coming.
Those things were good for an afternoon, and then it gets like dog hair on it, and you're like, yep, it's not sticky
done
anymore.
And so he gets real close up to Woozy and explains what he wants him to do. And Woozy, wow, you got no pores in your face. So,
what is this?
So we have
Xbox
Speaking of ninjas.
Game.
Yeah.
I was not reading comics in this, 04? This was like my junior year or into my senior year of high school. And so I wasn't super into comics at that point. So it's cool to see one from that era. I was really missing out. I would have enjoyed this. I like how cartoony it is, and this style almost makes me think it could be, gosh, they need to get John Kricks-Falusi, the Ren and Stimpy guy, to make a Plastic Man.
Oh, yeah.
Movie. Wouldn't that be good?
This
I know he's
reminds
kind of
me.
a controversial figure, but his style and his art is good.
Would be amazing. You know how everybody'd look normal, and then the close-ups are, ooh.
That's what I mean, is I think they could, that style, the Ren and Stimpy style, taken with Plastic Man, could add a new layer of grotesqueness on it.
Yeah. So then we cut back to Chief Brenner, Agent Morgan from Washington. Welcome aboard, Morgan. Your flight must have landed early. Coffee? Thanks, I'm eager to meet my new partner. But this I don't kind of get, because look at his coloring.
Right?
And
I guess ketchup and mustard style suits were really popular.
Yeah. He goes, should I warn you about Plastic Man? Naturally, I'm a bit intimidated to be working with such a brilliant crime fighter. That's suspicious. Brilliant? He's a clown, an irritant, a demented, pathetic freak. Are my ears burning? And he comes in. Look at this guy's expression. Plastic Man, this is your new partner. I'm not going to argue, so you better accept it. Don't be silly, Chief. I'm sure Agent Morgan and I will get along famously. I'm a huge fan, Mr. Man. I mean, Plastic. Can I call you Plastic? You're my new best friend, Morgan. After we've caught this murderer, we'll do each other's hair and have a pillow fight. Ta, Chief. I worried for nothing. Chief Brenner, Agent Morgan from Washington.
What do you think of the little sticks instead of having the little pointed, arrow-like? You know what I mean? Instead of filling it in and making it thicker,
actually, I noticed, but it didn't really stand out that.
I kind of like it. It was making me wonder, as I was noticing, that's how they did it. Some of the lines are really long. And I think it's nice because there's more room for the actual image.
Right.
It's less disruptive, maybe. And it also made me notice, are there any thought bubbles in this comic? Or is it all speech?
Good question. Other than the music notes.
Well, that's still coming out of him. It's something you could hear. You know what I mean?
Right. So he's not...
If he's whistling. That's an interesting thing. There's no interior monologues for the characters. It adds to the cartoony aspect of, like, what you see is what you get. There's not another layer of narrative or, like... irony or whatever.
We'll have to keep an eye out for it. So he goes, excuse me, I'm Agent Morgan from Washington. It says so on my ID. There must be some mistake. Look, hon, I don't know what you're trying to pull, but I'm not going to let some imposter. So she starts beating the crap out of him. I love the way his
face stretches, distorts on that uppercut.
And when she kicks, and Plastic Man is like, good Lord, stop it, you're killing me. It's so extreme. His little finger's not. Oh, it's awesome. And Chief Brenner. That's interesting. He was Brenner, and Chief Brenner. If you think I'm going to be partnered with that vulcanized varlet, You are sorely in need of another think. What can I do? He cried. Now get out here and find Eel O'Brien. Hicktown yokels. Whimper. He's a dog. There's no hard feelings, okay? I'll give you a lift. She ties him. He's a bicycle. Ties him up on the power pole. I long for the giddy, lighthearted partners of my past. Partners like Batman. I should have taken that Persian golf assignment. So that timely little joke.
WWE SmackDown.
Yeah. Plaz, that Morton guy never got off the plane from Wilmington. You want to watch wrestling at my house or TV? Another time, woos. Duty calls. Wait up, partner. Partner? Come on, Morgan. Let's mete out justice to evil doers. Sigh. Say something. Hey, I bet you I can eat 50 eggs.
Comic Book the movie. I don't think I've ever heard
Mark
of this.
Hamill. Oh.
Stan Lee, Kevin Smith, some other people, Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yeah. All the guy... Hugh Hefner.
Donna Derrico. I don't recognize that person. But, yeah, I've never heard of it. It's the ultimate DVD for comic book fans. I've heard good things from this ad.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Wow.
I'd have to track that down.
Wow. Hey, one of these days I want to see Kevin Smith when he comes to town.
It's fully loaded, 2-disc set. Yeah, he's a great storyteller. That would be
Yeah,
fun.
he is. And now, as the scale model of the crime scene clearly shows, the victim was facing west and his attacker approached from the north. That still doesn't explain why the blood splattered to the victim's left. As she's turned to look this way, he's clearly making fun of her and then turns back and... It must have
butt
been.
becomes a propeller.
It must be fun though to be able to draw Plastic Man.
Yeah, it's really
Because he's got fingers coming out of his nose.
Imagination is the limit.
His butt's a propeller.
Yeah, his fingers are going in his ears and out his nose. That's crazy. And his underbite has jutting teeth.
Teeth, oh yeah. And that still doesn't explain why the blood splattered to the victim's left. The chemical analysis from the lab is baffling as well. Why would eel poison a victim before bashing his skull in? Maybe the poison failed and Eel had to finish the job. So she's clueless as to his teasing her. I like the looks of this.
I never played Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I played several of the other games.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it looks
like
good.
A GameCube game.
Yeah. Ugh. The key is getting into his head. We must think like the criminal. You know, you squeak when you stretch. You sound like you're making balloon animals while wearing latex gloves. Now, where are those photos? And then this brick comes crashing in. You kids are going to pay for that window? It's a note. Now we're getting somewhere. That would be creepy, though. Dear FBI, I have important information about the... What does that say? The gay hall...
City Hall.
City Hall.
The
Yeah.
City Hall murder to share. Come to the condemned Victorian mansion alone and unarmed. I like his little eye stalk.
That is so primitively drawn, too. That's great. Then we cut to his ex-partner. You can't blame Plaz for preferring the company of a peer. That's it. He doesn't want a sidekick. He wants an equal. I've been in the minors long enough. It's time to graduate to rookie.
See, even when the characters are by themselves, they speak aloud. It's not a thought thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you notice that.
Wow.
So
Think of the character difference, though. It's so cartoony and goofy and over the top versus like Spider-Man, which is obviously goofy to an extent, but like he's a very cerebral character. He's guilty. He beats himself up about
True.
like
He's
every
got a lot of
defeat
self-hatred and
and reluctance to want to keep being Spider-Man and I'll show everybody. I'll quit being. He does that every other.
Oh
month.
yeah.
He's brooding. Or Batman is a very thought-driven.
He's a brooder.
he'll be in a
Even
fight.
Superman goes
Well,
through.
even in a fight, he'll be like, well, I noticed that the chemical makeup of this guy's body armor is similar to that, and they're like the exposition of how he's a brilliant scientist, detective.
Right.
Whatever. Plastic Man, what you see is what you get.
What you hear too, apparently.
Yeah.
He sounds like but he's wearing he's made out of rubber. I mean, just everything would squeak. He would be annoying.
Yeah, every movement.
Yeah. So I shall become a grim, terrifying Avenger. My costume must strike fear into people who are frightened by brightly colored leotards. Villains will tremble at the sight of my billowing cape. I love this. I totally figured it out before it happened, though. And then now, the final and most important element of any superhero's costume, the mask. But look at his eyes. And look at his... It completely blocks his eyes. Which is like, so that happens to, when you were a kid and you'd be making a mask of stuff and you put it up there and you never got the holes right. So actually, the most important thing is I've got my underwear on the outside. Oh, he's... The Sims.
Busting out. I never got into The Sims, but
Me
people
either.
I went to high school with really enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, I never did either.
never tried
I
it.
tried, but I didn't like. I don't know. Didn't stick. So here they are on their way. Here's where the note said to come. The creepy thing is, it's only 3 p.m. He changes his outfit all the time. You already did a dog earlier, remember? Rory. I adore witty banter, Nora dear. You should attempt some. I have no idea who you're being. Look, another note. Who is that he's being here? Because obviously she's saying, I don't know who you're being, to draw attention to who he's being, but I don't know.
Maybe like a noir movie star character or something.
I
He's
thought
got
that
a
too,
little
but cop,
martini.
yeah. It's not.
Is it that, wasn't there an old movie duo where they were like husband and wife that drank a lot and solved murders or something? I forget what that was called.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't.
But he's being
Sounds
Scooby-Doo
interesting.
there, I think.
I got that one. I love the look on her face.
I like the colors in this. We haven't seen much green or blue in
No.
this comic yet.
No, yeah,
They were
that's nice.
saving it all. That's why they had to have white gutters coming into the... They were saving all the ink for
Got
this
a
page.
fancy, flashy page coming. So anyway, they enter, and it's blank. Then it's not a note. The room's getting smaller, so they're going through a measure state. And then I thought it
What's up with his
I was
hair?
growing. I know.
It's like a weird bald spot.
And yeah, so he said that the room's getting smaller. And what did you say? I said I thought I was growing. There's no furniture, nothing they can use to stop the walls. He goes, this doorknob might have helped, but it's too late now. So he's just incompetent. And they're getting to the point where the room is closing in on them. And coward, abandoning me to my doom just to save your own plastic epidermis. Plastic man, I curse you with my dying breath. My ghost will haunt you until I exact my ghastly spectral revenge.
Whoa!
And he's going into the gears.
That's cool.
So it's like the first thing that he's done that's been helpful.
Weird to leave this all blank.
Good point. You think, I mean...
It just seems unbalanced, but I love the splash page reveal. I just wish they had made it go all the way down.
Right. Yeah, they could have drawn even more of his loop-de-loops.
Nope, they used up all the ink budget.
Quit screaming and help me reverse this thing, will ya? Oh, I think I pulled something. I smell hearing. And this, hey, that picture's staring at us. Ow! This is a great action pose.
So jagged looking. He's walking around like that. That's funny.
Reed Richards would never stoop to that.
No.
I smell hair.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Plastic Man predates Reed Richards.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Somebody saw Plastic Man, Stan Lee, I guess, saw Plastic. He's like, what if we made him a scientist with autism? And Jack Kirby's like, yes, and...
Keep going. So it's, curse you, vinyl interloper. That really hurt. It's a red herring. So they make do with that pun. And egad, it's my arch nemesis, the red herring. I haven't seen him since the Cold War. Stay back, I have the MacGuffin. I always get involved in criminal investigations which have absolutely nothing to do with him. Fool, I am the one that got away. All he does is waste time and distract me from the mission, which currently is to find the murderer and clear my name. Catch O'Brien. Forget that other stuff.
I'm trying to think of another duo of characters where one version is really goofy and the other is taken to a really serious degree.
Aquaman and Prince Namor.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, is Aquaman that goofy? Once they rebranded him, remember when he got his hand cut off in the 90s and he had the big harpoon hand and he was all gritty and bearded? I feel like that was part of the inspiration for the movie, that Jason Momoa was the more tough guy. Aquaman.
But Jason Momoa is goofy kinda.
Oh really? I still haven't seen it. I need to watch it.
There's two. So you haven't seen the first one?
I don't think so. I think it's the only DC movie I haven't seen.
And the new one that's out, you haven't seen either one of those?
No.
And did you see
How new is the new one? It didn't come out a couple of years ago.
Did you see the one with Superman and
Justice League?
Yeah, Justice League.
I did see that one.
He appears in that one.
Okay.
And he is somewhat goofy.
But
not as goofy as that Flash though.
Yeah,
But actually that's one thing Plastic Man and Reed Richards have in common is they're both unaware of other people's emotions or like super fixated on their own thing, but in drastically different ways. Where Reed's like got his eye on a microscope for 70 hours straight, like measuring things and deducing things. Plastic Man is just like pure chaos.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So Red Herring takes off and he, of course, tries to catch him. And may Mrs. Paul guide me.
Mrs. Paul?
The seafood, the fish.
Oh. We got some weird references in it. Who's the audience for this?
I know it, because that's
People
a
your
pretty
age,
old.
I guess.
And then her exclamation.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like an
and she's like, "What's wrong
icon
with you?"
or something.
Shh, you'll scare him away. Yeah, he's completely. I'm not a ninja, but I play one on TV.
What?
I don't get it.
Is the other side like a reveal of an ad?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's an interesting. They're like, we'll buy 2 pages, but spread them out.
Yeah.
For the grand reveal. That's kind of a clever marketing thing.
So, ye of little faith, watch how I play with him so I don't break the line. Unbelievable. No sign of him.
He can sprout extra heads?
And his body's like a big flesh bean. Secret staircases, pull a book off a shelf, the wall spins around. Shut up. And she just rams that.
That's very much like the Ren and Stimpy horse.
Yes. Yes. And so they...
What does he say? No, sir, I don't care for it.
Yep.
Something
no,
like
sir.
that.
Can't say that I do.
Yeah, something like that.
And I'm wary of this chase. So she catches him with the plunger. You think you're mounted now? Wait till you get to prison. Nice. He carries him out, makes himself, I don't know, like a plaque to carry him on. Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to make a joke that singing bass thing, but I guess that's before.
No, those were around in 2004 for sure.
True. So then we cut. Give me those shoes, lady. Evildoer beware! Crime has a new nemesis. I am the trouncer. I thought of the name after I put the W on my costume, but I'm going to change it as soon as I get back. Endure my kicklage.
Kicklage?
Yes. A terrorist, you filthy heathen. Victory at home and abroad. Buy bonds. He starts beating him up.
The old granny and the criminal join forces to beat him up.
They can't endure the kicklage.
That's funny.
So, am I looking forward to Election Day? FBI. Chief, I got you a present.
Re-elect Lex Luthor. That's funny.
Fools, I shall bide my time, plotting, then strike. You haven't heard the last of me. What a lovely ornament. It's a good thing fish have no civil rights. Ha, good one, Chief. We're the FBI. She's pouring acetone on his chair. He sits down. Ew, you melted my butt. And she's laughing. His butt is melted.
Jeez, would that kill him?
I know, I don't. And then, she got you, dude. Wow, what smells like melted plastic butt in here? He put up quite a struggle, but I brought her in. Book her, Chief. The charge, assault. Class, that your wallet? No, yes, give it to me. So he's opening up and he's fighting for it. Do you got a funny driver's license photo? I look stupid in mine. This is Eel O'Brien's wallet. It's evidence. I was examining it for my investigation. But I've got O'Brien's wallet right here. It hasn't left my side all day. It's not what it looks like. Plastic Man is Eel O'Brien? Plastic Man, you're really Irish? You bonehead? He's public enemy number 1. And the red herring, there's nothing to believe in anymore. I'm sorry, Plastic Man. Duty calls. Rubber bullets. If you lock me up, I'll never be able to clear my name. I can't let you take me. Sploot. We got bulletproof glass after that brick incident. Next on the lam.
Uh-oh, he's going to be a fugitive.
So we don't know why he's Eel O'Brien. Only that he is Eel O'Brien. But yeah, that comic was quite
What a drastic difference from every other comic I think we've ever looked at.
Yes.
Besides maybe the Ren and Stimpy comic. I
Right.
think that's the only thing, the only one that comes to this level of abstraction and cartooniness. I really enjoyed it though. It's a good change of pace.
It's interesting.
Amazing art.
Oh yeah,
And
it must have been a blast
Just
to
the
draw.
formatting was really clever.
Other than that one page, that was awkward. They could have maybe even put in like a sound onomatopoeia or something.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Or just sell some more ad space. So.
Right, right.
Buy war bonds. So if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and a comment and a subscription. Give us a subscription. Give us a subscribe. That's the whole point of us doing this, is to get more subscribers.
That's it.